today, guys? JR the storyteller here, and I'm coming to you today with another story from Tobago. Now this story is entitled Not Trouble Trouble If Trouble Not Trouble You. Good? Nice. Now once upon a time, a very long time ago, there was a village called Mariah back in Tobago. Now in Mariah there was a man called Joe, and Joe owned lots of land. Joe manufactured crops such as cives, shanubeni, melongen, pumpkins, tomatoes, you name it. Joe also had livestock such as cows, sheep, even goat. But Joe was facing one problem. Joe's livestock was diminishing rapidly, especially his cows. Day after day, when Joe feed his cows are getting thinner and thinner and thinner and more frail and thinner. Joe wants to know what is going on. So Joe called up his partner Jack. Joe say, Jack, listen now, I'm fed up at this, and I think I know what's going on, Yes, Jack, listen, I feel it's that Soucouyant, I feel it's her, but you was right all along, I feel it's her, but... Now, Jack was a man who knew about his superstition and his folkloric characters. So Jack came over to Joe, and Jack said, well, listen now, Joe, it's a Soucouyant, and I know you know what is a Soucouyant. It's Herbert that's sucking your cows in order for him to stay alive. You see that nonsense? And I bet all you wanted to find out what is a Soucouyant, right? I bet all you want to know what is a Soucouyant now. Let me explain quickly. A Soucouyant is a person, male or female, an elderly person who makes a deal with the devil. Now, within this deal, this person have to go to a cemetery and dig up a freshly buried corpse and take out the liver from that corpse. And that liver is made into an oil which is smeared all over that person's body, whereafter they can slip in and out of their skin as they please. Now when they slip out of their skin, they assume the position of a ball of fire. Good? And they go about looking for animals to refresh or replenish their lives by sucking the blood out of animals or even people. Good? Now, Jack and Joe was certain. They were certain that it was Herbert the Soucouyant who lived in 2 houses away from Joe. So that said night, Joe and Jack develop a plan. Joe and Jack say, let me get some salt and some pepper. Now, salt and pepper, when you put it into the skin of the Soucouyant, it does turn frail, shrink, and it does burn the Soucouyant skin. And next morning, you may know who the Soucouyant is because they will have a lot of burns on their skin. Now, Joe and Jack sneaked over to Herbert's house. Herbert's house in darkness. I don't know why Herbert had no light in the house. The man have no bulb. He only had one red candle light on a single table, and the door was cracked already. So Jack and Joe sneak into the house, then sneak into the backyard, and in the backyard have some cocoa trees. In the trunk of a cocoa tree, they see a piece of skin hanging out. They say, wait, that must be the skin, that must be the Soucouyant skin, that must be Herbert's skin self. So he went, opened the skin. Jack and Joe started to devour salt, started to throw salt in the skin. If you see them throwing salt in the skin, they say, yes, you like to suck me cows? Come. You gotta learn not to interfere with what doesn't belong to you. Alright. Jack and Joe sneak around by the picker bush and them there and start to hide. All they hear is the Soucouyant reach. The Soucouyant jump down from the roof in the backyard. Joe and Jack had a glimpse of the face. It's Herbert's self. Them see Herbert's face in the ball of fire. They was baffled. They could not believe their eyes. Then all they saw was Herbert take out the skin and put it on the ground. And he had to say a chant for the skin to come back to him. Herbert said, skin, skin, and me, skin. Come, skin, and me. The skin now come to Herbert. The skin wasn't coming to Herbert. Skin, skin, and me, skin. Come, skin, and me. When Herbert go to the skin now, putting on the skin, Herbert put on his skin, and all of a sudden, Joe and Jack just start to see smoke immense from Herbert. And Herbert started to bawl. My skin. Herbert and Jack see this in awe and start to run. Herbert and Jack run. Jack and Joe run. Jack and Joe start to run. Jack and Joe run past Joe's house. Jack say, boy, where you going, boy? I say, boy, I'm going by you, boy. Jack and Joe inside Jack's house now. Next morning, Jack and Joe came outside. Jack and Joe see ambulance by Herbert's house. And Herbert on the ambulance bed. Coming out. Jack and Joe went by the ambulance. Looking. Watch each other. And say, you're rich here. I catch you. Don't trouble if trouble not trouble you. The moral of this story, guys, is don't trouble anything that doesn't belong to you. Right? Even though the Soucouyant wanted to have to suck blood in order to live, she could have sucked on some tomatoes or even eat some beetroot. Beetroot is good for the blood. All of that. So don't trouble if trouble don't trouble you. That's the moral of the story. I hope you guys enjoy the story. Have a pleasant